ship. Get ready. It's going to be a very, very intense journey. Begin.
Yeah. I didn't see your fingers there, buddy. Oh, I love scotch. Scotch. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Frame Skip, episode 140.
Woo.
I am the best stash in the business, Seth Slakehouse, joined as always by the voice of the South, Andie Eller.
Best stash and the best ass. Can I just say that?
It's natural. All glutes. And also by the Patriot himself, George Loftus.
Don't call me that. My team fucking sucks. I don't want to be the Patriot anymore.
Oh, you're not rocking the Mel Gibson thing?
Oh, I was thinking the New England Patriots, who are
I was too.
Who are 2-8. No, I love the Patriot. I saw the Patriot in theaters in 97, 98 when it came out. That movie fucking rips still.
Nice, dude. Yeah, he melting toy soldiers, making musket balls.
Yeah, killing Jason Isaacs. It's great. What a movie.
Yeah. Mel Gibson was hammering it out in the 90s, and then he had some things happen and just fell off.
He didn't have some things happen. He made some things happen.
Some unfortunate coincidences, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe being a Holocaust. Yeah, maybe just being a Holocaust denier is a bad thing. Thank you, Mel Gibson, for proving that for everyone.
He proved what you should not do in modern society.
Can we say right now that Frameskip's official position is that the Holocaust did in fact happen?
Yes.
Didn't?
Did.
Hold on.
He said did.
I did not say didn't. That's not even a funny joke. No, I said did in fact happen.
Yes.
I think every time you bring it up that there's people that don't believe it, you give more power to that theory, right? Like, because it's sort of like the flat Earth thing, where I'm 100% positive. Like I'm so sure that flat Earth started as like a joke.
Yeah.
And then like you get these idiots who hear about it and they're like, you know what? He's kind of making sense.
That sounds kind of real.
Homie's cooking with gas. Yeah, we should listen to what he has to say. Dude, I had to deal with that too. I love the Boston Celtics. They had Kyrie Irving, who is a flat earther. And you know how hard it is to like defend your team? Who's just like ripping it through the league. And it's just like, oh, but like, yeah, but your best player like thinks the earth is flat. I'm like, yeah, well, he does. Yep, you're right about that. I don't have a comeback, but we're top of the East. So what the fuck do you want me to say? We're running the Atlantic Conference.
Dude, it's like, I don't even, when I hear people like have these flat earth like conventions and whatnot, I don't even know what to think about it. I'm like, you guys are voters. They're all like middle-aged. Like, you guys make decisions and drive cars.
This is something I host pub trivia at like a local sports bar now, and my rule is I ask the same question every week until every team answers it correctly, and only then will I take it off. But the question I ask every week, and I always tell everyone, it's like, yeah, if you're old enough to be in here at this time playing this game, you're old enough to vote, so you should probably know at what temperature Fahrenheit water boils. So Austin, at what temperature Fahrenheit does water boil? Seth, at what temperature Fahrenheit does water boil?
212.
I'm pretty close.
212.
Okay, what is your guess, Seth?
360.
Austin is smarter than Seth. It is in fact 212 degrees. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Water does boil at 360 degrees Fahrenheit, does it not?
Yeah, it keeps boiling.
Technically, he's not wrong.
Fuck you. Fuck. Fucking can't with you people sometimes. God.
I'm just saying, man.
Look, I'm just giving you facts.
But look, George, I just gotta say,
water not boiling at 360.
I just gotta say, the only reason I am aware of that fact is because I'm well studied, and because our kettle in the kitchen is temperature adjustable, and the maximum is 212 on it. So
okay,
that's why I know that.
Hey man, any port in a storm doesn't matter why you know.
Yeah, because you can't. It doesn't want to push it past boiling point.
But the maximum is 2. Like, shouldn't that be like the minimum?
No.
No.
Don't you need
because
boiling water to make tea?
no,
No. Depends on the type
Oh.
of tea. For darker teas, you want a higher temperature. For lighter teas, like a chamomile or something, you want
And-
like
Oh, Lord.
160.
and for coffee, which is what we use it for a lot, you want it at 200 exactly. You do not want it to be boiling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Fuck you. 200 exactly.
Yes.
Well, no, because I remember hearing about that court case where that woman like spilled coffee on her in a driveway, and then it's just like, well, she ordered coffee, she should have known it was supposed to be hot. And then I remember like making fun of that, and then
We all did.
my girlfriend was in law school, and she was like reading that case. I was like, oh, that fucking idiot who ordered hot coffee and was surprised at how hot it was, and she's like, it was like 350 degrees. I'm like, oh, that's too hot. that's
Was
way,
it not boiling?
That's way too hot. No, I think the problem was that it was boiling.
Well, yeah, and then the McDonald's play like a giant smear campaign towards her to like make her look like an idiot, but it turned out that like they knew about this issue for a long time, and like, yeah, it was like kind of a messed up story looking back on it.
Fun fact: the reason their McFlurry machines never work is because they spent all that money on the smear campaign.
That makes sense.
That can't be a true fact.
That's a conspiracy theory I could get behind.
No, I'm just drunk enough to sound convincing when I make a bullshit argument.
McDonald's did just get sued for their McFlurry machines. There was like a McFlurry fixing company that they tried to sue. Or get sued by.
Everyone was like giving Joe Biden shit because like he said that he wanted to take on like junk fees associated with concert tickets and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you're the president. Why are you debasing yourself talking about this trivial bullshit that doesn't matter? I'm like, man, I would love to go to a concert and just like pay the price that's advertised as opposed to the price I pay once I try to check out. That'd be fucking sick, actually. Like, what if it actually costs $60 to see a band instead of $110 with all these convenience fees and additional arbitrage, whatever? But like, man, what if he took on McFlurry machines next? What a dub for Joey B, right?
I think that should be his platform next year. Maybe is like, hey, we're gonna get every McFlurry machine back in operation. I think
that would get a lot of Trump voters. Remember when Trump hosted like the collegiate athletes or whatever, and he had like that catered meal that was just 100 quarter pounders?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, hey, that's pretty sweet. You know what? I got something to say because I had a Big Mac right before the show today, right?
Yeah.
And McDonald's shredded lettuce is just not okay. Like, don't give me a quadruple layered sandwich with shredded lettuce on it because I'm no matter how you eat it, you're making a mess everywhere. And why can't it just be one piece of lettuce? Why has it got to be 100 pieces of lettuce?
I prefer the shreddy personally. I think the bigger problem with McDonald's, there's something up with their buns to the point where they actually announced that they were going to change their bun recipe last year.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it at my local McDonald's. I also haven't been in recently because I don't like McDonald's strictly because of their buns. I just can't fucking do it. Their buns are like too toasty and too plasticky. And then you take a bite, and like I think this is the problem you're talking about. You take a bite into it, and then it displaces all the lettuce on the sandwich and then spreads it out. And like it's just not soft enough where like it shouldn't move the shit. Like it shouldn't push the sauce, which then pushes the lettuce elsewhere and then makes it so it's not concentric circle on top of concentric circle on top of concentric. Like it throws everything out of alignment.
I agree. I mean, it's a mess. And you threw 400 pieces of lettuce on there, and I'm picking up little bits of lettuce everywhere, all over myself, in the cracks of my couch.
Fucking veggie confetti over here. Yeah.
Yeah. I even tried holding the little box underneath the burger. I'm trying to like catch it like I'm playing a sport, but it doesn't. I can't get it. It's not there.
It's like you're playing a brick breaker, except the stuff's just dropping down, and you've got to make sure it's landing where it needs to go.
Honestly, it's my nightmare. It's my worst nightmare. I'm doing this in my dreams.
Can I make a confession to you guys? And I'm only doing this because I know, respectfully, my girlfriend doesn't listen to this podcast.
Okay.
I think the saddest thing I do is like, there's no fast food in my town. There's only fast food in the town over, and that's where like the big grocery store is. So I like, Fridays or Saturdays or whatever, I'm like, oh, hey, I'll go over to this town, do some grocery shopping. You want me to bring you something back, like Taco Bell or McDonald's or something? She's always like, yeah, sure. The saddest I've ever felt in my entire life is the fat piece of shit that I am, where I get like an extra sandwich just for the car ride, and then I immediately like pull over in the parking lot after getting it from the drive-thru, and then I eat it like a fucking goblin under a bridge, and then try to like hide the wrapper somewhere in my car so she has no idea that I just had like an additional 400 calories for no fucking reason. But just like sitting there, I look so pathetic. I look so sad. It's delicious, and I'm going to keep doing it, but I don't feel good about it.
I like it. I frankly, I think you should feel really good about it.
Hey, you work hard for your money, George.
Yeah.
You get your extra sandwich. All right, you deserve that.
You could eat that lettuce.
You spend your $4.50 the way you see fit.
That's right. That's right. You get that. Anyway, this is a nerd conversation of importance every week. I don't know where we're
utter
at.
Importance. Utter importance.
Austin, why don't you tell us what you've been up to this past week?
You know what, Seth? I'm gonna do that. And can I just say I've been up to a lot for once. I feel like this past month I've been on a roll, maybe a little too much on a roll. You know, last time I mentioned that I platinum Spider-Man 2 within the span of like 7 days, which was maybe a little too much.
That's great though.
But I've kind of slowed down. But there is still a lot going on, you know, a lot to watch. I've watched Loki season 2, finished that. Amazing.
Oh, really?
Very, very good. Very, very good.
Are you caught up on all MCU TV at this point?
I am.
Okay. I skipped Secret Invasion. I haven't watched that yet.
Don't watch it.
I'm going to because there was a sequel comic series that came out this year, and I actually thought it was pretty decent for being a 5-issue like anniversary event series. I didn't love it, but I thought it was better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And so I do want to check out the series, but like, man, it just looks like they fucking Rise of the Silver Surfer, that ending. I saw clips and I'm just like, well, this didn't work 15 years ago. Why do we think it's going to work now? But whatever, it's fine.
That is probably the worst thing that they have released post Endgame. I would have to sit there and really think hard about like pre-Endgame stuff by comparison, but it's awful.
You guys remember this time last year when they released, was it Werewolf by Night?
Yeah.
Like that black and white, like one
Loved
shot hour-long special. Yeah. Do more shit like that. That's cool.
Yep.
You got.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The thing, and I don't want to go off on this tangent because this is way off topic, but Secret Invasion, the thing that killed me is like that could have been a massive like Avengers movie level event, and it is relegated to such nonsense, like such low level nonsense, that it just did not work for me. Plus, like you said, George, the ending is like sheer just early 2000s CGI, and it is not good. So anyway, Loki season 2, man, speaking of things that are actually good, probably the best thing post Endgame for me. I absolutely adored it. The finale sets up some amazing things. It does make me feel a little sad that like the rest of the MCU is not on that level, but frankly, Loki, now having watched season 1, season 2, I think as a whole is the best character in the MCU, without a doubt. I mean, the stuff that they set up with him is incredible. Just amazing character development. But
he's been pretty good consistently since the beginning, honestly.
Yeah. So watch that. Watch the Attack on Titan series finale, which they released last week. Also incredible. Very good ending. Probably my favorite anime of all time. So what's up, George?
Is it dubbed yet, or are you watching subs?
I watched subbed. I'm not sure about dubbed. The dub may be out, but I am not positive. Usually I know it's like a little while after, so it may be a bit still.
I felt
Andy is standing like a ghost behind you.
Yeah. I felt really proud. I think it was last week or the week before, because actually there wasn't an episode last week. I felt really proud when Seth was proud of me for admitting that Super Mario Sunshine sucks.
It sucks.
So I'm just gonna go on a limb and say sub anime sucks.
Oh, fuck you.
If there's no choice, I'll watch it.
No.
If there's no choice, I'll watch it. But like, everyone's just like, oh no, you get so much more emotion in the Japanese voice. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you don't speak Japanese. So it's just like, oh, someone's like in a more high-pitched voice when you're reading that fucking line. Like, congratulations. That doesn't fucking mean anything to you. Like, it sucks. I would so much rather watch dubbed anime.
Who are these people not speaking freedom?
No, I didn't say that. Do you respect my hot takes?
Yeah, I do. I also agree. Like 15, 20 years ago, dubs suck. Nowadays, we got these high profile voice actors. They're doing a pretty good job. Pretty good job. I like it. All right. They're speaking freedom language also. Big plus. All right. And I respect that.
Is this a bit because you have a mustache?
No. This is who I am now, George.
I could get behind either way. I
eat bacon
I
and
watch
drink
subs still.
freedom.
I watch subs still, but I do agree with you. The dubs nowadays, it's not like they were 20 years ago. So,
even some of the dub, like the old dubs, though.
for sure. Dude, the Dragon Ball dub is excellent.
That's what I was about to bring up. Like the Dragon Ball dub, excellent. Can't think of any others off the top of my head, but if you gave me a little while, I could come up with some. But the new, like I would say from like 2010 on for sure. Like you're in pretty good area.
They used to just like outsource it to like the same 3 companies, right? Like
they still kind of do.
Okay. Never mind that. My point's moot.
Okay. Last thing I'll say. Go ahead, George.
I was gonna say, but the talent pool has gotten better, so those 3 companies are better than they were. Okay, sorry.
Last thing I'll say, because I don't want to be stuck on me forever, is also watch the Marvels over the weekend, because at this point I'm never going to stop watching the MCU because I've already watched 50 freaking movies and TV shows. So at this point, I might as well continue.
Mm-hmm.
That movie is quite good. I actually really enjoyed it. I was a little shocked by the negative reaction. However, the villain in that movie sucks, and that's probably where a lot of the downfall for it comes. But yeah, I think the actual character interactions are excellent. Kamala Khan, awesome, very cool. So
Seth, did you see it?
Would you say that you were marveled?
No, but it's still a good movie. Still a good movie. So.
No,
George, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that because I'm not a piece of shit, Seth.
So the only 2 games I've been playing, I know you've been playing, Seth, so I don't know how we want to have this discussion, but well, you know what? What?
I'm not done talking about Marvels yet. I had a question.
Okay, let's go.
Did you see Guardians 3?
I did.
Did you like that villain?
Yes. I
thought that villain fucking sucked everything. I thought he was awful.
Yeah, I didn't think it was one of the best ones, but I thought it was fine. I thought it was good.
I thought he was fine too, but then everyone's just like, this guy's so good. Like Kang, who fucking replaced Kang with this guy? It's like all he did was yell. That's all like he did.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't agree with that.
He really relied on the animal abuse angle, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only thing about his character that I was like, okay, well, it's I didn't think he was that great. I thought he was okay at best.
So here's what I'll say about the villain in the Marvels. I don't even know her name.
That's not a great start.
Yeah, I don't know her name, and if I were to compare her to other villains in the MCU, I'd probably put her on the same level as like Whiplash. Just very uninteresting.
Whiplash was fucking dope. Iron Man 2 underrated. Can we do a watch along episode of Iron Man 2 actually?
Oh, for sure. I'd do an MCU watch along.
Well, I wanted to do for Christmas this year, I made a request of doing like a PlayStation 3 centric podcast at the end of the year. Just because, especially I've been playing my PS3 a lot lately, and I really just we got to celebrate this console for everything it did. Because I think we're all in kind of agreement that is our favorite era of gaming.
Yes.
Whether that's us or the games, we'll figure it out on the podcast. But the second thing I'd love to... Iron Man 2, I think, is fucking magnificent. And I would love to talk about that one in particular with you boys.
I'd do it.
Okay. All right.
I'm down.
I don't know if you want to do this like Star Wars, where like 1 month we'll just watch like Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. Like, I would actually prefer to do it like out of MCU order and just look at things like a filmic trilogy or quadrilogy or whatever we want to call it.
I'd be down for that.
If you guys are cool with that.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I'm ice cold.
Yeah, you're cool. Cool as a cucumber, baby.
Cooler than being cold.
So look at that fur cumber on your upper lip. Yeah.
Back to games though here. I guess I was going to say I've been playing 2 games, but no, I had already beaten Spider-Man 2 before our last podcast, so that already is over for me. So we can talk about that in a minute. But Alan Wake 2, still continuing to play. Still really enjoying it. Taking a little longer on this one because I just absolutely plowed through Spider-Man 2, loved it, but wanted to actually sit there and relax and take this game a little bit at a time because I've been waiting freaking 10 years for it. So
like I say, you want to relax with this one, which is like the tense horror game.
Yeah.
And like Spider-Man 2 is the one you bum rush, which is like,
yeah,
the hero's gonna save the day. Probably
Yeah.
haven't played it yet, but yeah, it's really funny that that's your attitude going into it. I love it.
Yeah, the game's freaking excellent, man. I really don't see for me. I'm gonna try and play Jedi Survivor. I don't think I'm gonna have time for Baldur's Gate before the end of the year, but I really don't see how anything could outpace this for Game of the Year for me. It's just phenomenal. I'm probably about 14 or 15 hours in. I'd say I'm maybe
Game.
3/5 of the way through when adding up both of the campaigns, so I'm getting there. But it's gorgeous, and the plot just gets more and more interesting.
Do you play one campaign at a time, or does it alternate, like each level?
So you start for a while. I'd say the first like 3 or 4 hours, you start as Saga, who is the new character who is an FBI agent, and you're stuck on her basically. But then probably 4 or 5 hours in, you get to a point where you can switch to Alan.
Mhm.
And from that point onward, you can actually go in any order you want. You could finish Alan's story and then go back to Saga, or you could essentially do what I've been doing because I'm OCD. I'll do one mission as one, then bounce to the other for a mission, then bounce, then bounce, then bounce. So I like to be kind of in the same place with both. But
That's cool. It's like a comic crossover, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's great though, man. It's excellent. So
I was looking this up, and apparently Saga was in
Control.
what's the Xbox one?
Quantum Break.
American Nightmare.
Yeah. Quantum Break. Apparently she was in Quantum Break in a
Interesting.
live action perspective like thing. But I can't find where I was hearing that about.
So I don't know anything about Quantum Break. I've never played it. I really want to.
That game is fucking excellent.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
That's
the
only-
video stuff doesn't work. But besides that, like I think the game is incredible. And like
Yeah.
you should watch the video stuff at least the first time through it. But
Oh,
I think I finished that right before I joined the podcast. Actually, that was like right before my Ghost of Tsushima appearance. No man, I love that game. That game's great.
found it. Yeah, let's move on.
But Alan Wake's your GOTY so far. You're from
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm biased because I absolutely adore Remedy, and Control is a super special game to me, and so is the first Alan Wake. But I have no complaints with the game. I cannot think of a single thing that I don't like, and it's been a long time since I felt that way about a game. So,
and it's only
so good.
available digitally, right?
Sadly, yeah. If it was physical, I'd certainly snatch it up. But yeah, sadly for right now, it is just digital. So.
Oh, that's right. The Baldur's Gate devs were teasing an announcement for physical and for Xbox. I think probably at the Game Awards because that's 2 weeks away, right?
Yeah, 3 weeks away.
3 weeks away.
I
Not
think
super far.
exactly.
Yeah.
We should do a live stream.
We can do that.
I like it.
I don't know if I'm working or not. Yeah, pretty cool. Anything else, Austin? That you've been up to?
Not a game, but the only other thing I've really been doing is post Spider-Man. This has kind of been the main thing I've been doing in between Alan Wake. Is I restarted my Marvel Unlimited subscription and started reading the 2018 Donny Cates Venom run
With Ryan Stegman.
Yes, with Ryan Stegman, and it has been excellent. I am 15 issues in, but I just got to the point where Absolute Carnage comes into play. So I've been I've switched over to that reading order for a little bit until I start to reestablish Venom back into it. But honestly, never really knew too much about Venom. I mean, I knew him from Spider-Man 3 and from Ultimate Spider-Man on GameCube, but like I just never really researched his character too much. And so getting to know more about, and especially seeing some of the new lore things they do in this run, really, really enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Donny Cates run. I never finished it.
Oh
but
man, King in Black is fucking awesome. You should.
I got right up to King in Black, I think, before I fell off, and then I stopped reading comics. But I was really enjoying the Venom run.
I need you both to read the King in Black thing so I can spoil something about King in Black. I'm not going to say
a
it.
sword.
Yeah. Well, sure. Yeah. Ish. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah. I'm really glad you're reading that. That book is excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've only read the first issue of Absolute Carnage, so I really don't know anything about that series. And honestly, didn't realize that was in the mix. I was just thinking, I'll get through Venom, and wherever King in Black comes into play, I'll read that. But clearly, Absolute Carnage is pretty important build up for that event as well. So
I'm pretty sure that was like a summer event for Marvel.
Yeah,
and it was like the perfect summer event where it was just like loud, crazy, stupid fun.
Yeah,
big explosive action. I don't know how, like, this is gonna sound so stupid and like maybe even a little elitist. I don't know how it would be to read that in the fall, just because like it was going for like a vibe, right, where like the temperatures were off the charts and like everyone's at like a boiling point. But I think the main event's really good. And if there's any listeners out there, I posited to Seth and Austin and Coach too that like when it comes to a comic book event, I will read every book from the main title of the author of the main title. If they write any tie-ins, I think those books are mandatory reading, because obviously they want to say that, but they can't say it in the main series. So I think it's important and additive. And then besides that, really just following characters of interest. And so I think you mostly agreed.
Yeah, I will skip anything that I don't find like appealing. I'm not going to force myself to read any tie-ins that focus on characters I don't care about.
Besides that, though, if it's a creative team, like forget what I was reading. I forget the name of the event, but it was like where Kingpin was mayor and then like locked everything down on New York. I forget what it was called, but it was basically like they fixed Civil War and made it so it was like the heroes against the villains as opposed to heroes against heroes. But they still had like the same like heroes are outlawed in New York. It was good shit. But then it was like there was a Jed MacKay Moon Knight tie-in series, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna read the fuck out of that. Not because I care about Moon Knight, but because I think Jed MacKay is like one of the best writers in Marvel right now. So I think realistically, with any event, you only have to read 10% of any tie-in. And Austin, I really hope you exercise that with Absolute Carnage.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I don't think you have to read the Scream tie-in miniseries, even though that's like I
actually started that. And yeah, it was not. I read the first issue and was like, "This is not grabbing me." So
not for me. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's a cool symbiote. Like I want to read about them and figure out what's going on, and then you're like, ah, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So exercise that with Absolute Carnage and also King in Black.
All right. Well, George, what have you been up to lately?
I got the platinum in Far Cry 6.
Congratulations.
Nice. You did it.
It took only twice as long as PSN Profiles said the platinum would take. I remember, so when I made this bet, I was shit-faced in Vegas bowling, and I went on psnprofiles.com, and it said the platinum takes 25 to 30 hours. I was like, okay, that sucks, but that's manageable, and Far Cry feels good enough. It took me closer to 50, because that game is so fucking
That's
massive.
Freaking absurd.
And unfortunately, I still have to get the 100%. I've decided I'm going to tell the person who made this bet to go fuck themselves. I'm going to Platinum Spider-Man in the meantime. I really want to play that game. So I'm going to do that and then try to get 100% in Far Cry 6 by the end of the year. The other big game I've been playing, you guys, the servers for Battlefield Bad Company 2 are going offline December 8th.
Dude.
So I've been playing Bad Company 2 fucking non-stop in my downtime.
What a good game.
That game is 13, almost 14 years old. That game is still excellent. I think that game still looks really good. And we got Battlefield 2042 or whatever we got 2 years ago. Just guys, don't overthink this. Just remaster Bad Company 2. Like just do that. Just do that for a year, you know. Play around on a new engine, learn the ins and outs, make sure your online infrastructure is up to snuff. But you have a perfect game right there. That game is incredible. And the multiplayer, not as lively as it was when I was in college, but I was in like a 10 versus 10 like squad rush match last night that lasted like an hour, and it was like the most fun I've had playing online multiplayer in at least a year.
Dude, that game, I have so many good memories of that game. It is so good. It's got to be the best Battlefield game for me, and I've played pretty much all of them at this point. I have not played the new one, but and the Vietnam expansion for the multiplayer for that was flawless, man. So good. I have so many good memories.
I don't have that, and it's unavailable for purchase on PSN. So I wonder if that's why like the base is so limited. Because like I go on PSN profiles, there's a whole bunch of like gaming sessions set up for this game because they know the servers are going offline.
Yeah.
And I'm like 12 trophies away from getting the platinum. So I'm like, I got 3 weeks. I think I'm going to lose a lot of sleep and try to platinum this game before the servers go offline.
Nice.
So I think Vietnam is probably why like the online community isn't as active, because it's pretty split. But like the base game still, like once a day I'll go into like an almost full match, and it's just fucking so much fun. I cannot believe how good this game looks for being 13 years old. It's incredible.
Yeah. It's so good. And even like nobody really talks about the campaign in that game, but the campaign is also really, really good. Obviously, even with the servers down, that'll still be playable. So if you have never played the game before, certainly at least try that out. But yeah, dude, that game is phenomenal.
I have never played a Battlefield game.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I got the platinum in Battlefield 4 because that was like a PlayStation 4 launch game. Got the platinum in Battlefield 1. I didn't play Hardline, which is the one where you're like cops and robbers, basically.
Yeah, I didn't play much of that one.
And I played a little bit of Battlefield 3. But I never finished the campaign and never dicked around too much in multiplayer. But that was the first game where I think it sold like... I think that came out the same year as Modern Warfare 3 on PS3. And I remember Modern Warfare 3 sold like 13 or 16 million copies. And like Battlefield 3 sold 9 million copies. And they're like, holy shit. Like there's a legit competitor now to COD. And man, like Battlefield, something about it feels so fucking good. Like I would so much rather play an online match of Battlefield than Call of Duty.
No,
yeah, it seemed like they were gearing up to be a competitor to Call of Duty, but they kept screwing themselves up, right? Like they kept getting in their own way constantly, which seemed pretty unfortunate.
Well,
EA, you know,
they had some issues.
Was pretty broken at launch on PS4.
4 was broken, but when they fixed it, that game is excellent. But Hardline and then 5 and now the new one, those were all misses. So, which is unfortunate because Battlefield 1, which was in between Hardline and
that was the
5.
That was the Future Warfare Call of Duty year, right? Whereas like Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1.
Yes.
And then whichever Call of Duty
I think it was Infinite
Warfare. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, you're correct. Battlefield 1, man, that game is super special. That game was really, really well done. And it's so sad that series kind of just dropped off the map after.
It's probably the second best Battlefield after Bad Company 2.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I've been playing lately. Besides that, I think I mentioned getting obsessed with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet 151, the card set.
Super good.
Incredible. I have almost every card in the base set. I'm missing, like, I've opened over 40 packs and I haven't pulled a single War Turtle, which is really pissing me off at this point. But this weekend, I'm going up to the city and there's a couple card shops. So I was going to try to pick up some of the missing singles. I even started collecting like the alternate arts that appear like after the card numbers at the end.
Bold man.
So, Yeah, so I got like Mr. Mime. I've got a War Turtle from that. I've got a couple Tangalas. I've got some Jinxes. Like I'm doing my best, but I'm only missing 4 or 3 cards from the base set. It's so much fun to collect, and like I saw the previews for the new set that they were gonna do, and I'm like, I have no interest in this. I'm not gonna spend a single fucking cent on this. I can't wait. So it really was just 151, them going back to playing the hits, and I'm like, okay, like I'll show up for this.
Yeah,
But
I felt the same way.
it's been so much fun.
Just get
collecting
in,
for it,
get
man.
out.
Yep. I got the binder, and
Yeah.
I got a ton of cards, and I've been putting them in the binder by number, like you do.
Oh yeah, I have mine in Pokédex number. Yeah.
Yep. And I don't know exactly how many I need. I haven't found, there's no like loose packs around where I'm at. Everyone's buying them all too quick. So
Yeah.
when I do see them, I buy them, but I haven't been able to get any for a couple weeks now. One of those things where I'm just hitting them at the store when I go. But yeah, really cool, really cool. I'm not going for all the alternate art cards though. You're pretty bold for doing that. You're trying to get a whole complete set. That's
There's
some expensive stuff.
There's some I won't be able to afford. Like I'm not spending $75 on like Charizard flying away from the frame. Like I'm not going to do that. I
Why
would
not?
love to do that.
Why not?
Because it's $75 for one fucking card. But like man, there's just so much beautiful art in this, and there's so much nostalgia. And again, like it is so weird. Like there's a set of videos on YouTube, I think from Ruby Retro is the artist name. And they're just analyzing the Pokemon meta from like 1998 on, like from when the card game started. And so they're talking about like the first tournaments, like what were the winning decks and like how did the strategies work. And so I think they're up through Silver and Gold release, like the 3rd or 4th expansion. Like they did Fossil and Jungle and Team Rocket and all that shit. And it's just so interesting to see like how the pros were playing the game, and then like how me and my friends were playing the game at that time, where like it was us trying to evolve a Charizard. Whereas like everyone who was playing in a tournament was just like, no, you just want a basic Pokemon. You want Electabuzz, he's got 70 HP and he can deal 30. And they're like, that's a pretty good ratio. I'm like, oh man, we were playing this game entirely wrong.
Highest HP, highest power. That's what that stands for.
And I was like, no, I just want a Charizard. I just want to like land a Venusaur. I think that'd be sick. Solar Beam, 4 energy, 60 hit. Oh, doctor, that like what a move to pull off. It's so it's sparking all these. I have so many of the digital card redemption packs that like I'm seriously considering getting back into Pokemon TCG Online, because I did it for a little bit and then I started just getting my ass kicked over and over again. And it just wasn't fun. But I've got like 40 of these maybe, so
Nice.
I might start redeeming some packs and see what's what.
All right. Anything else you've been up to lately?
Watching basketball, watching hockey, watching
Nice.
wrestling. Survivor Series is coming up. Pretty excited for that.
Nice. I think you mean sports entertainment.
Yep, sure do. It's a lot of fun. They really put an emphasis on the fucking entertainment. I watched a football game last week that was like 9-10 final score. That fucking sucked. They forgot to put the entertainment in their sport.
Yikes.
Yeah, I was part of the pro wrestling fandom when they forced to start using sports entertainment. Pretty lame. Was not a fan of that at Switch, but yeah. As far as me, I did in fact go back and beat Spider-Man 2, Spooderman 2. And we'll talk about that here in a second, a little more, I think. And then I picked up Alan Wake 2, and I started going through that. I will say, not sticking me like I was hoping it was going to stick me, and I'm a little discouraged by it. I think the issue came from the immediate switch between Spider-Man and Alan Wake, where Spider-Man is such a fluid, kinetic game that's like really fast-paced and fun to play, and Alan Wake is not that. Alan Wake is
very
like,
different games.
Alan Wake feels like I'm playing it remote play constantly, where I hit the stick and it takes forever for Alan to move, and I'm like, oh my god, just turn around, man. You know, just like move a little faster. God, you're in a nightmare. How about you put a little pep in your step?
It is interesting though, because I've heard a few people mention that, and I don't know. I haven't felt that at all, but I guess it is a very classic like survival horror thing. Like a lot of the Resident Evil games now feel like this, and so maybe that's why it doesn't bother me. But I can understand it.
Like there's like shadow monsters chasing him. And he's got like a light jog going on, you know. And I'm like, hey man, getting a little sick of your crap. All right. But yeah, I'm also finding with Alan Wake 2 that I'm just not smart enough for this game's puzzles, and that's pretty discouraging for me. Like I'm like, dude, the first level with Alan, when you're walking around, when you first get like the light lamp thing, I swear to God, Austin, it took me I bet 3 hours of walking around that town square being like, where is the other light source? I cannot figure it out. And then like I'm shooting at like this wall because I saw an arrow and I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, that was frustrating. I'll tell you what. And then I finally look up the walkthrough and I'm like, oh, okay. I got to like climb scaffolding and whatnot and get around to this police car. It's very frustrating. And then I think we talked about it a little. I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, but the constant switch into the writer's room and Saga's case board, not a fan. It continuously taking me out of the gameplay in order to like move around this clunky thing that was clearly intended. First off, side note, stop giving me mouse controls in console games. Hate that. Hate that with a dying passion. I don't want to move a little reticle around the screen with my analog stick.
Thanks, Destiny, you piece of garbage.
It literally came from Destiny. I will burn that studio to the ground. Just kidding. Just kidding. They're doing that themselves. But
thanks, Sony.
Yeah. Yeah. The moving the reticle around and it's like super slow and not responsive. I hate that so much. Just give me a quick selection, man. Because if I could just select the evidence from Saga's hand and then quick select like the places it should go, that evidence board might work a lot better.
I actually don't disagree with that. I think, especially later on, like the more you play, I've gotten to a point. So just for, I guess this is a mild spoiler, I guess, for people that haven't played the game. But what Seth is talking about, essentially, it's like an active menu where you're standing there in real time, but then you hit the touchpad and you're suddenly in this other place, and they call it like the Mind Palace or whatever. It's essentially like this room in Saga's mind, just totally hypothetical, that lets her use her detective skills and kind of examine the scene. The problem is there's like a board that you map all the data onto, to essentially like you would see in a detective movie where they've got the pins and it's like, who did this? And you pin a piece of paper up here and it's, oh, that guy did it. And, you know, it expands way more past that. But the thing is, later on, the more you play, the thing I've run into a few times, hasn't really bothered me, but I'll open the Mind Palace like once I'm in a safe room, because you don't want to open it while you're out and about, because guys can still come kill you while you're in it. So I'll go to a safe room, open it, and then I'll literally have like 20 photos sitting there. And I'm like, I wish there was just like a pin all button at that point that just made it easy. Sure. So
yeah. Not my favorite mechanic in the world, especially because I'm way too like crazy about getting that done immediately. Yeah. Because like when I see she has new evidence, I'm like, I gotta see where that goes, you know. But like you're bringing up, you're super vulnerable. Not, you know, when you're doing that. So that's frustrating. Other than that, I mean, I love the story and I love like where it's going. Definitely lied when the director said that you don't have to play the previous games.
Oh yeah, BS. You do. Absolute BS. You need to play Alan Wake at a minimum. Immediately
ties into Control. Immediately.
Yeah, I'd say Control is a must as well. So
what about was it American Nightmare? That was like the expansion on 360.
I heard you did. I never played American Nightmare, and I feel like I'm understanding it.
I don't feel like you really need to. Yeah, I've never actually played American Nightmare either, and I've watched recaps, but I've never actually played it.
Yeah. I wonder if that's available on the remaster.
I don't think it is for some reason. For some reason, I want to say American Nightmare is only on 360.
I think you're right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I really enjoyed Spider-Man 2. Once I was done with it, I was still in this Spider-Man mood. I watched Across the Spider-Verse. Way overhyped. That ending, unforgivable. Don't do that to me. Right?
Agreed. Yeah.
Then not okay. You can't do that. But I thought the rest of the movie was pretty good. And then I was like, all right, well, I haven't read some of these old Spider-Man issues. So for reference, I have read Amazing Spider-Man 1 through whenever that last Craven event was. I forget what issue that was. I've read every single issue.
Wait, the last Craven, like the Nick Spencer Craven event?
Yes. Was it 750 probably? Something like that?
Well, yeah, like 2019, 20...
Yeah.
20, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. 2020 sounds right. But I was like, all right, well, this kind of gets me in like a symbiote mood. So I decided to try and read the whole original Black Suit Saga, Alien Suit Saga for Spider-Man. Really hard to do, by the way. Marvel made like a collection of those stories in the early 2000s. Not available digitally anywhere. I'm not going to a bookstore. I don't care. So I'm trying to like piece these stories together through Marvel Unlimited. Got pretty fed up with that real quick. Decided to start reading at Amazing Spider-Man 300. Didn't really regret that. One of the all-time great issues, if you didn't know, Austin, Introduction of Venom. So that's what I've been up to lately. Just kind of putzing through Spider-Man at work. I decided to take a back seat to Alan Wake 2 these last couple days, just because I wasn't really vibing with it. And I picked up Trails in the Sky the Third, getting back to the grind, the old grind set.
Not this again.
I have 4 more games to go.
Who's winning between you and Pedro?
Pedro by a massive margin. When I took a vacation, and we went to Disney World, I was ahead of Pedro by like 150 hours. By the time I came back, he had passed me 2 games over.
How long were you in Disney World?
2 weeks.
That's not much more time than you were there. Like, what else did he do?
I don't know, George.
He didn't eat. He didn't sleep. He didn't work.
Yeah, I was ahead of Pedro by a whole game when I went to Disney World, and then when I came back, he had passed me by 2 games. Now the 2 games he passed me by are smaller, like 10 to 20 hour games. But yeah, I was like, God.
All right. So like, all I'm saying is like, a week is 168 hours.
Yeah.
So of the 2 weeks you were gone, for every 1 hour he was doing something else, he also spent an hour playing the game to catch up with you.
He's done it.
Jesus Christ.
He's an absolute madman.
I started playing this game out of competition for him because I gave up on the first game and he beat it and then rubbed it in my face. And I was like, all right, well, now we're on.
Yeah.
Now it's on. And so we've been doing this dance for 4 years now. And I now have a chance to catch up to him because the next game doesn't come out until the summer. So I got to do it. Anyway, it's a good series. I'm enjoying it. I actually have a massive amount of collectibles from this series now. There's a new one right here that just came out the other day. So that's what I've been doing.
That's a lot, man. That might even be too much.
Great. Great. I've loved about every half of it.
Imagine hating something but also loving it at the same time and spending 6,000 hours doing that thing.
Well, you guys were here. Like I was like playing these games and I'm like, I don't even know if I like these. Like I can't recommend these games. But like there is something about it that attaches to you and you're like, it's a little interesting plot thread. Let's see where that goes. You
just like explained hepatitis, basically. Like
something attaches itself to you.
Yeah, like, well, this is just my life now. Like I have to compensate for this thing I have on me now.
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of how you MCU viewers are, isn't it?
You're like, that's right.
This is genuinely okay. I guess I'll just do this forever.
It's really not, because there's maybe Austin, back me up here. There's like at most 20 hours of MCU content in a calendar year.
Yeah, I'd say so. That sounds about right.
I'll even give you some extra, like I'll say 25. In a fucking year, my guy.
Listen, sometimes you get them, sometimes you get got. All right.
This just feels like such an elaborate practical joke that's gone on for way too long.
I swear to God, dude, let's look at me. Listen to this.
Freaking Falcom keeps releasing these games. They're like, these suckers aren't going to stop.
I really do like this series. I mean, like, I have a whole shelf of collectibles up there, and then I have a massive, you can't really see it, a massive poster right there, and another massive poster right down there behind my Cheetos boxes.
Buddy, that's Stockholm syndrome. It's not real love.
It's not. So yeah, let's talk about Spider-Man 2 a little bit. Non-spoilery for George, although George is a comic book fan. I'm sure he can see any of this plot coming from a mile away. What?
Although, let me just clarify, there are surprises in there, though. It is not like there are still things that are surprising, at least for me.
What was surprising to me was how little New York needs Spider-Man when they have Mary Jane Watson. That's what was surprising to me.
Dude, right? She's like,
I mean, hey, it's a little ridiculous, and that is like a really legitimate criticism for the game, I think. And the director was like, he literally says like "fuck off" when people were bringing it up, and it's like, well, okay, but Mary Jane Watson can one-shot these symbiotes when it takes, Spider-Man and, Miles Morales like 5 shots. So, let's take it easy.
All I'll say, just because I know not everybody's played the game, but just so that we can have some context on what we're talking about, like in the first game, there are Mary Jane missions, and in this game, all they give her is a little gun that she got from Sable during her training post first game, and so that's added into her gameplay this time around. Every single character you fight with her, one shot. Every single character, every single enemy, one shot.
Symbiote.
Meanwhile, Spidey's over here taking 15 hits to kill one of Kraven's little generic hunters.
Yeah.
Fighting for his life. Yeah.
Like he's literally smashing their heads off of walls and whatnot, right? And they're still getting back up. And MJ's like, gotcha.
But
didn't see that coming.
I will say this. I understand how people could complain about it, but at the same time, gotta be honest, no, does it make sense from a plot standpoint? Absolutely not. Did I like it? Yeah. I liked it because it was much more enjoyable than the stealth missions in the first game for me. And yeah, she's overpowered as hell, but I enjoyed it.
Did I not enjoy it? No. I think it was a missed opportunity to make it like a real there's the one point in the game, or I think it's the second time you play as MJ. They could have really turned that into a scary situation and made it feel like a survival horror game.
Yeah.
And they missed out. And I felt like that was a giant missed opportunity. Instead of making her so powerful, make it like a survival, like, because that's where in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is a representation of the situation, but this is how it really should feel. It is, she's like fighting for her life and like really trying to be silent and not make a noise. And I think that would have been a lot cooler, and it would have given the vibe that like, okay, MJ is heroic, but she's not a superhero. In the game, she feels like a superhero because she's literally taking out everything and with almost no effort whatsoever. She literally she wipes out an entire army of Kraven's members. Go ahead, George.
Are you guys working on Black Friday?
Yes. Sadly.
Maybe.
Do you guys want to if I commit, I could beat Spider-Man 2 by next Friday. If you guys wanted to do a spoiler cast next
Please. Friday. I would love to do that. Because I need to talk about this game.
Well, because like Austin, respectfully, Austin, like you record after work, so I know it's not a big deal, but Seth works during the pod. So Seth, what's your schedule like that Friday?
I have off Thanksgiving. I do work at 6 o'clock on Black Friday.
6 p.m.
Yeah.
What time are you planning on waking up that day?
I can wake up whenever. You just gotta let me know. I can adjust my schedule whenever.
I'll be home by 3:30. So
We can do it then. I mean,
Yeah.
that gives me plenty of time.
we'll figure it out. We can talk about it after. But yeah, I'd love to do a spoiler cast. I will say this, though. I know Coach is also working on it. So if we could get all four of us on, I
That'd be
think
great.
he's about done, actually.
He might need to take his pet mosquito to the vet. So.
Yeah. his frog, his green tree frog is having its quinceañera next week. So also all four tires on his truck are flat. So he's got to get those fixed.
Well, we don't care about his truck. We care about his bicycle.
Yeah.
All four tires on his bicycle are flat.
It sucks. Couldn't have happened. Couldn't have happened to a nicer coach. You hate to hear it.
What else? What else thoughts do I have on Spider-Man? I was really. This is gonna be weird, and I definitely feel like I'm onto something here. I was really surprised at how segmented Peter and Miles were in the game. They really only crossed paths in the story a couple times.
Especially in the latter half, they're like totally separate.
And also, Miles didn't even need to be in this game. The overall story, Miles has almost nothing to do with. It's really weird. I almost wonder they maybe should have just kept making his own spin-off game and had him cross over with Peter slightly, because it's kind of jarring to go from like world-ending major threats with Peter to like, let's save the cultural museum to in Miles.
Well, they were like going to
And it's
blow up the city, right? Like in Miles, wasn't that like the whole plot that the Roxxon bomb or whatever was like going to go off and like destroy New York?
I don't know.
I think that's right. I think it's right. I think that's why the Tinkerer was fighting against him, but was like,
so like there's you go from like dealing with like serious symbiote threats, specifically in the part of the game I'm talking to like the cultural museum's getting robbed, and Miles goes and like
oh, I see what
saves
you're
a
saying.
drum.
I understand.
And it's like, okay, I want to get back to like the symbiote story, please. Can we just not?
Well, I actually don't disagree with you. That is one thing I noticed, is that this is definitely a Peter game.
Yeah.
Like, even though Miles is in it, this is a Peter story, which is interesting considering the fact that like they're co-leaders on this game. Like, they really built up the fact that they're both Spider-Man, and you know, that's kind of the whole deal. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is really a Peter story. I mean, Miles does come into play, but not like I thought he would, to be honest. It didn't really bother me, but at the same time, I was kind of like, well, that's interesting. I mean, we'll see what they do next, I suppose, but
Yeah, I felt like yeah, like I said, like he really didn't seem to have a good place in the story, or like I feel like he at the end of the day he really didn't even need to be there, and then the story would have like kind of worked itself out fine. I will say though, a lot of really cool details in the game. Insomniac, so good, man. Especially because like there's certain things you do, and if you do them at a specific point in time in the game, different things will happen based on like what you've accomplished. So that's really cool. I've done almost every piece of side content in the game that I care about. I've done all the Peter stuff 100%. I got almost all the Miles stuff done, and then I got to like the cultural museum stuff, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm done. I don't care anymore.
did you do the flame side missions?
I did. Big surprise there at the end to me. I'll be honest. Didn't see that coming.
I couldn't figure it out. I was trying to figure it out the whole time, and I could not figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the ending of that. And I like I said, I did not see it coming. And then when it happened, I was like, oh, that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to talk about this in spoiler context. And I'll just say my last thoughts on it are, I'm really curious to see what they do with this series, because for sure we're going to get a Spider-Man 3. I mean, that's going to happen. But the question is, and it kind of relates to that side mission line, do we also get some sort of either Miles-esque in between game, or do we get DLC to this game? it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this, because frankly, I could see them doing a separate Miles-esque game specifically focused on where that side mission goes.
Yeah, I feel like that's got to be a Peter story, and it's weird because it seems to me
not necessarily just Miles, but I mean like as far as the length of it, like a 8 to 10 hour game.
Oh, I see. It seems to me like Insomniac, it feels like they don't have a plan, and that's hard to say, but the way Peter's story ends does not line up with the story threads that we have to pull on still. And first off, I hate that thing that they do with Peter at the end, because it doesn't fit his character. It never has. It's been done many times and it does not fit his character. And I'm like, all right, well,
yeah,
this is not gonna stick. But yeah, I'm interested to see where they go next with it, because it feels like
this
they don't
is
have
so
a
hard
plan.
to talk about.
And that flame mission that we're talking about really seems like it should have been part of the main game, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll talk about it in the spoiler cast. George, play Spider-Man. Come on, what are you doing?
It's so good. It's so
What are you
good.
doing, man?
I lost a bet. All right, I was trying to honor my bet.
I respect that. Good man.
Yeah.
Play
I'm
Spider-Man.
not, but I'm not going to. I'm going to play Spider-Man. I said I will try to beat it by Friday. Let's talk to Coach. Let's see if we get something up for that weekend, because I don't know what everyone's schedule is. I'm not doing shit that weekend. I might go see that Thanksgiving horror movie called Thanksgiving.
I saw that.
I might go see it.
Pretty fun. Pretty fun.
Oh, you saw it. You didn't. I thought you saw the trailer. You saw it.
No. I saw the trailer. I saw the
Okay.
trailer. The murdering pilgrim. Big fan.
Yeah, looks good, right?
Yeah. Fun.
I'm going to the big city this weekend to see the Marvels. I'm very excited.
The big city is in New York?
No, the big city in Maine. I don't want to say like where I live, but going to the nearest place that has movie theater. The place where I live has 2 movie theaters, but one is closed down for the winter. They reopen back up in January. They're taking their holiday time off. And the other one's a non-profit that's like literally only showing old vintage movies for the next month. So I assume they'll get the Marvels in December. I don't want to wait that long, so.
Well, it doesn't help when
Marvel.
freaking Marvel's going on Instagram posting like major spoilers from everything they do less than a week after their stuff comes out, which is annoying as hell.
I think they're probably doing it because they're struggling pretty rough at the box office,
Well,
from what I understand.
but it's like everything they
drowning
do.
out there. I mean, but they're like, hey, please, hey, you see this
And
cool
that's
thing that happened?
That's been Disney all year, though. Like, the problem is that these movies don't make enough money. The problem is that these movies don't make enough money compared to how much money they spent on the movie. Like, that's the real issue. Like, $47 million at the box office, like, that's not bad. Like, obviously, it's not, Avengers numbers where they were getting 200 million the opening weekend, like, worldwide. But, like, $47 million box office, like, Seth, do you think Batman Begins is, like, a good movie?
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's the lowest MCU movie opening by far.
Sure, yeah, but it's still like a successful movie. And like Batman Begins made 45 million, 51 million or something its opening weekend, and then went on to gross 400 million like worldwide. Like I'm saying, like a lot of these things have tails. Granted, like the tails don't exist the way they used to back in 2005. And I'm not even trying to shill or defend Marvel, but like I'm also thinking it's like when a video game comes out and gets a 7.5 and everyone says it's dog shit. You know what I mean? Like a movie getting 47 million opening weekend was like, no, it's actually still pretty good. And like, I think it's really good considering where the fuck Marvel is right now. So I'm excited to see it. But like, also these movies don't need to cost as much money. Like they need to kind of like scale back, I think, a lot of their ambitions and just tell simpler stories. But
I agree with you.
that's my take.
Tell stories people care about, That's
Fuck do
where
I
I'm
know?
at. Nothing, dude. Fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know shit. All
right, let's talk about the Game Awards. The show that started out really good, and then for the last 2 years seems to kind of have been way too long. They announced the Game of the Year nominees, and I wanted to see what you guys thought about this, because I feel like this list should be a lot longer. Let's see here. I'm gonna fuel category. Sorry, I wasn't.
Wait, can I
prepared.
see if I can list them all?
All right, yeah.
Go.
Alan Wake 2.
Yep.
Oh my god, I'm forgetting what it's called. Super Mario Wonder,
Yep.
Legend of Zelda, A Wrinkle in Time, or whatever the fuck the name. Tears of the Kingdom.
You nailed it the first time. Yeah.
Thank you. Baldur's Gate.
Yep.
How many more do I need?
2.
2. Fuck.
Yeah.
Austin, you got anything?
Well, I already know what they are.
Yeah, I don't see you hitting the one. You might be able to hit the other one.
Fuck it. Move on.
All right. The ones you were missing were Spider-Man 2 and Resident Evil 4.
Okay, yeah. I wanted to guess Spider-Man 2, but honestly, that just felt like me being a nerd boy. I didn't think it was actually Game of the Year material. And Resident Evil 4, I forgot that came out this year. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, I don't really know what Resident Evil 4 is doing on there. I don't think that should have beaten out like, I don't know, something like Hogwarts Legacy, but
Well, especially, I feel like everyone kind of shot their wad with like what an amazing Resident Evil remake was with 2.
mm-hmm.
And then like everyone was like kind of surprised by 3. Like I feel like we're not surprised anymore that like the Resident Evil remake is top tier.
So I think this list is pretty good, except for Resident Evil 4. Now, admittedly, I have not played the remake, but I think the difference with 2 and 4 remakes is 2 was like a massive change because you had, that was a PlayStation 1 game that was totally essentially a brand new game. Whereas 4, I mean, yeah, it's got better graphics. Yeah, I'm sure it plays better, but at the end of the day, like, I mean, it was already 3D. It already essentially played the way this game does. So,
well, then we could play that game on PS2. We could play that game on PS3. We could play that game on PS4.
I can understand the argument for the 4 remake, but I don't disagree with you, Seth. I think something like Hogwarts Legacy, or I'm sure there are other games I'm forgetting. I mean, frankly, I was a little shocked they didn't put Starfield on here just because Jeff seems to be like in love with Bethesda. So
yeah, that or Dead Space I thought was really a lot more impressive. What was the Hi-Fi Rush, right?
A lot of people said Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah.
I
obviously
Jedi Survivor was a phenomenal game.
Final Fantasy 16.
Sea of Stars.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 16. Come on.
Yeah, Sea of Stars too.
Yeah, this list just screams. I don't know.
Well, was there a big like indie hit this year? Like, what was it? Like last year was Transcription.
Sea of Stars was indie.
Yeah, but like I don't think that made the same impact that something like Transcription did.
I never even heard the name Transcription.
I remember Elijah was like super fucking hyped.
Yeah, it was a pretty big game last year.
It was a really big deal when it came.
I'm really not sure, to be honest with you. I do know on their like indie games list, everybody's pissed off because one of their games is Dave the Diver, which apparently I know Andy has been playing, but apparently it's not even an indie game. It's made by is it Nexon, the South Korean company that like did like Combat Arms and stuff back in the day on PC. It's not an indie game. Like it's made by a very big publisher, but it's on the Game Awards list of best indie games or whatever for the year, which is kind of wrong. So
my thought is that when you look at this list for Game of the Year, only 2 games really realistically take it, and that's Baldur's Gate 3 or Tears of the Kingdom. It's probably going to be Tears of the Kingdom because of Nintendo. Because anytime Zelda comes out, he always wins, no matter how bad that game is. So,
did you play Tears of the Kingdom? I know Coach was obsessed with it. Like I know that took over his life for a bit.
Me?
Did either of you?
I played it a little bit on my emulator on Steam Deck.
I didn't touch it. I didn't like the first Breath of the Wild, so I was like, this
so
one's probably not for me.
I played probably maybe
What I got is a floating spoon.
60 hours, maybe 50 or 60 hours of the game. And I don't know, man, that was actually one of the first Nintendo games that's released in a long time. And I've been like, this just is not working for me. Something about it. Like, I adored Breath of the Wild, but Tears of the Kingdom, it was like I was force feeding it to myself because I love Breath of the Wild so much. And I just, it would not be like a top game of the year for me personally. So
I don't know what to say about that.
I'd love to go back to it and finish it. I'm like right at the very end of the game. And it's totally possible I was just in the wrong mindset when that game came out, but not even close to Breath of the Wild for me. So
yeah, when I really think about it, I think Alan Wake 2 or Baldur's Gate 3 deserves it the most. I mean, Alan Wake 2, it's hard to deny that's just like a work of art.
Yes.
That game is beautiful. It runs well. It's not broken. Spider-Man 2 is like, it's the big cinematic hit. It's like, the comfort food. But Baldur's Gate 3 did something that has not been achieved in a really long time.
Yeah.
Where your choices matter, and it brought a spotlight to Larian Studios, and it's like, hey, we're a serious developer in this space.
Yeah.
And the discussion around Baldur's Gate 3 is still ongoing. And that hasn't happened all year round because it's been such a big year, but people are still talking about Baldur's Gate 3. And then that's when like, okay, we got something special in our hands. I think people are going to be talking about playing Baldur's Gate 3 like they talked about and played The Witcher for a decade. So
yeah, but like,
I don't disagree with you.
I think it was 2009 was the first year at the Academy Awards where they expanded the field for Best Picture from 5 to 10. Do we need to do that, or is this just an exceptionally stacked year for games?
I think this is just an exceptionally stacked year for games. I mean, this wouldn't be a problem any other year, but this year specifically.
I've been listening to old Beyonds, and I'm like right in fall 2011, and like that was probably the last year I can remember being like this, like, holy shit, there's something to play every week, where it was Battlefield 3, Modern Warfare 3, Deus Ex, Skyrim, Batman Arkham City, Uncharted 3. Like, there was just something new every week, every other week, starting from August on. And like this year is the first time where I'm like, there's not enough days for me to play everything I want to play that came out this year, let alone my backlog where I have to fucking play 80 hours of Battlefield Bad Company 2 online.
This year has been insane. And we've still got Mario RPG remake comes out this week.
And fucking Avatar.
You mean Far Cry 7 or whatever?
I miss Avatar
game. Yeah.
I'm interested in checking out Avatar just because I wonder, like the same way I think Guardians of the Galaxy kind of informed a little bit of where Final Fantasy 16 was going. I wonder how much of like the new Star Wars games DNA can be found in the Avatar games. Like that's why I am curious about it.
A lot. It's going to be a lot.
Actually, all those games share a lot of DNA.
Yeah.
You guys are being like.
No, but like, seriously, it does look good. It looks fun.
I get what you guys are doing. You're 1,000% right, by the way. But like, more seriously though, I am wondering just like how many things overlap mechanically from game to game. So I'm actually trying to hold out. I have like a week off from Christmas to New Year, basically, from my job, and so I'm wondering. I don't know when we're going to do Game of the Year discussion. It's probably going to be before the actual end of the year. Like, I don't think we're doing it in January, right?
We haven't talked about it at all. We could.
Okay. Yeah, let's do 2 episodes. January the first week, January second week. First episode is us doing Game of the Year. Second is us talking about like our gaming goals for the year. Or we could flip that and do gaming goals first week. And
we need to bring that back because I don't think we did it this past year. I think that was when we took a break from the podcast.
I think we did it. I just don't think we followed through on what
I don't even remember. I'll have to go back and listen. But just my last thoughts on this. I think I agree with you, Seth. I think most likely of the 6 would be Alan Wake, Baldur's Gate, and Tears. I don't think Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil, Mario, as good as Mario is,
Yeah.
I don't think any of those really stand a chance for Game of the Year.
I really like Mario Wonder. I don't think it's like an exceptional Mario game. I think
it's really good.
what we've
But
yeah, I think it's exactly what we've come to expect from like a new Mario platformer. But like it's not the way other games have recontextualized the genre. Like I don't think it does.
it's no
that.
Mario
Like,
3D World.
it's not. It's not. It's not any of these games, you know?
Yeah.
Not any of these.
So I frankly, I kind of hope that Baldur's Gate 3 wins, because that's, like you said, Seth, it's a very different game. I haven't played it yet. I do want to try it at some point, but it's very different. You know, everybody's talking about it. I frankly feel like it deserves it, but my pick, as I discussed earlier, is Alan Wake for sure of this list. So,
George, what's your pick?
My pick is Baldur's Gate 3. And again, I haven't played it either, but just based on the conversation around it and all the crazy stories I've heard about people just like the same way they talked about Breath of the Wild, where like, I just wanted to see if I could do this thing. And they were able to do it. But it sounds like with Breath of the Wild, that was like physics curiosity, just like wondering if the game engine can compensate for it. This is like, I wonder if I could romance this character so I could, you know, get some money from them, and then like you end up taking over the inn they run, and that becomes like a steady source of income, and then you burn it down. Like it's just like all this crazy shit that just happens in the game where it's not even like, oh, I wonder if I launch this barrel, will this happen? It's like, no, dude, like you can like fucking ruin people's lives with your words with this game, which sounds pretty astonishing.
Dude, and I just recently found out in Baldur's Gate 3 that there is a companion that you can get in this game or kill her. And there is a way to kill her, finish the quest, go back, resurrect her body headless, and continue the game with her as a party member.
That's insane.
Pretty nuts. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
That is insane.
So I think the two games, I think Austin, you mentioned them earlier, like the two games that probably should be on this list, and I think we're in agreement that like you could probably sub out Resident Evil 4 and Super Mario Wonder, but it should be Final Fantasy 16 and Starfield, right?
I would think so.
Yeah, those
Final
would
Fantasy
probably
16
be the top.
deserve to be on there.
Yes, I agree.
Have either of you touched any of Starfield?
No.
Haven't played it.
It's
just not a big Bethesda guy, personally.
It's a really confusing Bethesda game because this is the first time where I've cared about the main quest more than the side quests. The only time that's ever happened to me. Like in Oblivion, I don't give a shit about closing the gates. In Skyrim, I don't give a shit about the dragons or the Civil War. I give a shit about everything else.
Yeah.
And then here, like it's such like a compelling mystery about what's going on.
Everybody says that. Everybody says the main story is excellent. So at some point, I'd love to play it. But
we need to have my buddy Fabio on, because I think he said he beat that game 5 times. Like he did everything in the game. I think he's like 2 achievements away from having everything unlocked. So if you guys are down for a guest for game of the year,
let's do it.
Yeah. Real quick before we wrap everything up, what did you guys think of the N7 Day Mass Effect 4 teaser? The second teaser we've gotten.
Thought it was awesome until they said not going to come out till 2029.
Nice.
What year is it right now? It's 2023, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked. That's pretty fucked.
And dude, this isn't even the first time they've teased it. They teased it like 2 years ago, right? Like there was that shot of them on like in space. Like Mass Effect is coming. I've gotta be honest. I'm not convinced that BioWare can do this anymore. And when I say this, I mean make a good game. Yep.
So, I think they can. I think there's too much pressure with the Mass Effect brand. Like I think if they were going to make a Mass Effect sequel, it should have come out 2 years after Mass Effect 3. I think everyone would have been way more forgiving of Mass Effect Andromeda if it came out within 2 years of Mass Effect 3. And they were hey, we're going to keep a lot of the systems. We're going to change some stuff up, but we're trying to build a new universe. I think if they just said that caveat, like people would have been way more open to the idea. But it's the same thing with like we're never going to get Half-Life 3. right? Like I know we got Alex, which is a prequel, but like even then, like it was only done because it was VR and they wanted to, test out the Vive or whatever the fuck the headset was. But like we're never gonna get a Half-Life 3. We're just never gonna get some games. And I think we're getting a GTA 6 announcement at
next
Game
month.
Awards. I think that's been alluded to. But like same thing, like Elder Scrolls 6 was teased 2 years ago. No, more. I was living in San Francisco when that game was teased. That was like 2019.
Had to be 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was when 76 was announced.
Yeah, so like that game is still 5 years away, 6 years away, right? Like,
yeah,
I understand that like technology is evolving and you want to release something that is cutting edge, something that is incredibly impressive, and like that's the problem with Mass Effect, while on top of living up to the high esteem of the previous releases. But at the second time, like, dude, not everything has to be a home run. Like, you could hit a double. Like, it's okay just to get on base. Like, that's fine too.
I'll be honest. I think if Dreadwolf comes out and it flops, BioWare gets the axe. That's
gonna
my
be honest.
Opinion.
Forgot they were working on that too.
That's their next game. Mass Effect's not even their next game. Dreadwolf.
What is Dreadwolf?
Dragon Age.
Oh, fuck! That was announced like 2 years ago, right?
That was announced like 10 years ago, buddy.
No, there was a teaser for something. I remember I was at my dad's house. So that was 2020. So I bought my house in 2021.
Dude, Dragon Age Inquisition ends on a cliffhanger, and they leaked that Dreadwolf was being worked on like at least 6 years ago, and like someone took a screenshot of a press release.
Seth is right. They announced Dragon Age 4 at the time at the Game Awards in December 2018.
Yeah.
All right, so since Dragon Age Inquisition, they've done Anthem and they've done Mass Effect Andromeda. Have they done anything else? Probably something, because they switched, because they were no longer, like, it was BioWare Austin or BioWare Texas, whatever it was. Like, so they're no longer doing the Old Republic shit.
No.
What are they been?
The only thing that you could maybe throw into the loop is the remasters of the Mass Effect trilogy, but like that's it.
Did they do that?
Well, Dreadwolf's been in development hell. Dreadwolf was originally going to be a live service game, and apparently they scrapped that. That's
what I just read.
Like remaking it. So
yeah, restarted development.
That's
what I wanted in my Dragon Age game, live service.
Anthem came out and they were like, "Oh,
idiots!"
Oh, Anthem! Oh no!
I was looking at like my PlayStation. Like if you look at your PlayStation profile on PS5, it'll tell you how much time you've put into games. And I put 60 hours into Dragon Age Inquisition, and I do not remember a single second of it. And like I got 30% of the trophies. I could not tell you what happened.
Dude.
I remember it was kind of like Oblivion, where you had to like shut shit down. And I remember fighting bosses, and there was like one like the war table where you could go and like send people out on missions. And I remember being so mad that like there was no instant gratification for that. Meanwhile, I just did that in Far Cry 6, and they had this thing called the Banditos board, and it was like, oh, you need to do 5 of these to get the trophy. I was like, okay, cool. This one takes 10 minutes, and I did that, and then did some shit. They're like, cool. The next one takes 5 hours. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. I have to just like press a button and then wait 5 hours to press another button. Go fuck yourself.
Real world timers are terrible. I don't know who designed that. That is such a bad decision.
It's fine on a phone, I think, because like I don't think of it primarily
or Animal
as
Crossing.
Yeah, like I don't think of it primarily as like a gaming device. My phone, we're like, oh, like I'll do this, check in, then like I'll go to bed or whatever. But like when it's a fucking console and like I sit down, I have so little time to game that like when I sit down and I'm ready to game, and then they tell me to wait 6 hours before I could do part 2 of a 6-part thing. I'm like, you guys are fucking assholes. This is not smart. I don't know why you did this, but it wasn't for a good reason.
Well, the other thing with the War Table and Dragon Age Inquisition was that it had really significant plot and world building elements to it, and it made you sit through a real world timer to get those. That sucks.
Unconscionable. Don't do that, developers. I know a lot of you are listening to this podcast. Don't do that. Please don't. I'm 33 and very tired.
You mentioning the play clock on the PlayStation, like list of games or whatever, made me think of the other day I was scrolling through mine and I was just looking because the one nice thing about it is it's retroactive. Now that the PS5's been out, it still shows what you played on PS4, like you said, with Dragon Age. And so I was scrolling through. Most of them looked as I expected. Then I get to Watch Dogs, which like I played maybe a couple missions of and was like, no, this game's not for me. And I look at it and it says I've played 400 and something hours. And I'm like, this is not right. This is not right. So I don't know if I left my PlayStation on for like 2 weeks or something. I have no idea.
Austin Eller,
Sounds like it might have, yeah.
biggest Watch Dogs fan.
Well, because I have like 940 hours in the first Destiny game. And I'm like, okay, how much of that was just me in orbit?
Yeah.
Waiting for something. I don't know.
Anyway.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps up episode 140 of the Frame Skip podcast. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sitting here and listening to us. Remember, the stash brings the cash. You can find us and the ass. You can find us every week on podbean.frameskip.com.
Absolutely not. Frameskip.podbean.com. Or you don't even have to do that. You can just find us on whatever podcast service.
Podcatcher of choice. Yeah. And go ahead and leave us a nice review if you can. We'd appreciate it. I'll personally come give you a back rub, maybe a little more than that. So, whether you ask me to or not.
A nice and big old steak.
You can follow us on Twitter. Oh yeah, big old steak. You can follow us on Twitter I'm at Set the 90s Kid. Don't follow me. Austin is at Austin Geller. George is at Shortbox Summary. Follow him. Follow him in his comic book.
Follow him.
I'll release a new episode this year, I promise.
And you're going to listen to it whether you like to or not.
My job is like, a lot of it's really intensive. Like, our busiest time of year is Black Friday and holidays. And I don't know if you guys know this, that's like right now. So I've just been working a lot and haven't actually had time to finish an episode of Shortbox Summary. But I think I'm going to do a new format where I don't spend hours writing a script and then recording it. I think I'm just going to be more free flow in the conversation.
George, now that I've got my Marvel Unlimited back, I'd love to be on an episode about whatever you want me to be on. If you just task me with reading something,
I'll send you the list of upcoming shit, and I'll see what you're interested in.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, on that note, why don't you guys go have a good Tuesday night? Go have a good Wednesday morning as well. Think of me.
Or Wednesday evening, Thursday morning.
But fuck your Friday. Fuck your Friday right in the face.
Fuck your Friday. All right. Well, dudes. See you later.
Godspeed. Godspeed.